podcast on our thing, maybe.
You're listening to the TD Show. On the field! It's a miracle! Tennessee has pulled a miracle! Broadcast live on the TDShow.com. There comes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game! Auburn's going to win the football game! 2 hours of the best sports talk on the planet. Or at least out of Edmonton, Kentucky. That it all. Oh God! Stokely! Down the sideline! Billy Ketchup! Stokely! Wow! Touchdown! Denver! Unbelievable! Coming to you live, your hosts, TJ and Dan. Here goes the
All right, we're back here for the second hour of the TD show. We still got Brandon on the line with us. I had to cut you off there, but if you could, just go ahead and talk about what the Northwestern players are asking for in this civil suit.
Well, another big thing that the Northwestern players are really wanting was on-site on every game, a trained concussion manager. Like, if there's somebody with a concussion, they're not going to get sit back out into the game, and they're going to get treated fairly and right based on their health and not based on the school's performance. And I mean, I thought that was
that's something.
That's a logical thing. I mean,
that's something we can probably all agree with.
And the next thing they asked for was they just wanted some of the money that was raised in all the advertising and the memorabilia. They didn't really say they wanted tuition money. They said they just wanted money that the sport actually brought into the college. But then you get into the point of how much are you going to actually pay somebody playing in the college? I imagine it's different for every college, but then if somebody finds out one college is paying a whole lot more than another college, everybody's going to go to that college, and nobody's going to be going for the school experience and for the education anymore.
Well, I don't believe that most of the big-time athletes that are going to be making that decision anyways, I don't think go to a school for the education now. I believe they go there to whichever one promises to help their draft stock the most.
Yeah, and if you think about it, all these athletes that you see that come from smaller schools, I mean, even think about Brett Favre. He wasn't a 5-star recruit coming in. He wouldn't have went to a big school. He ended up going to a small school. He ended up making it to the NFL and being a great player. But he wasn't recruited like a Peyton Manning was, who ended up at a big school. They still have the same chances because they can be turned into it. And these people that are the 5-star recruits that are going to be set up front, you know, how good people tell them how good they're going to be, and they know out of high school, they know when they're in 8th grade that they're going to be in the NFL someday. Those people are always going to go to big schools. Money or no money, they're going to end up going to the big schools. Now, and these other people, think about Blake Bortles. This is a guy that they think could be drafted number 1, and that could happen. I don't think it's going to, but it could. But he wasn't recruited out of high school like that. And then you've got other people that are recruited that don't work out, but the high recruits are always going to go to big schools. You know, Youngtown Baptist or something, they're not getting 5-star recruits. It's just not going to happen.
Real quick, we got a couple callers in line. What are your thoughts on the Super Bowl? Who do you like?
I'm calling it Denver. Denver 17, Seattle Seahawks 10.
Oh, wow. Low-scoring game.
Wow.
What could happen if wind started occurring? I mean,
yeah, or rain or snow. I mean, polar vortex move in. All right, we appreciate you calling us. We're going to get to some more callers here. So far, a lot of our callers have agreed with some of our points. Others, they have different feelings, but that's what we want. We want you to call in and tell us what you think. We don't care if it's what we think or not. We're going to give you our opinion. We want to see what everybody else thinks. So keep giving us phone calls or Twitter messages or send us a Facebook message or post on our wall. We don't care. We just want to know what you think about the show, what you think about what's going on in sports these days.
Yeah. Also, something I kind of joked around with you last night, since we're going ahead and talking football recruits real fast. Kentucky gets a 5-star recruit and then becomes a football school, right?
Well, no.
From a 5-star recruit from Kentucky, I might add.
Yeah, Elam. He's going to come to Kentucky. He's a big guy. He's a lineman. He's recruited by Alabama hard. I mean, and Notre Dame and Texas and Ohio State. Big time schools. But he's a Kentucky kid. His mom's a Kentucky woman. They really He felt at home here, and that's something that we've done a great job of. That Stoops has done a great job of. He got Drew Barker to come, who's an in-state.
Are you on the coaching staff? You going on the recruiting tour? We.
Well,
He's done his part, ladies and gentlemen.
I've retweeted some stuff. I mean, I'm helping out. Hey, I licked some of those 500 envelopes that Stoops sent to that kid that day. But listen,
I forgot all about that.
he's done a great job of making this team, this class, feel like a family. These recruits are recruiting each other. He got Drew Barker in. Barker recruited Elam. Barker got Elam here. He wanted him on his team, and that's something we've never really seen before. And he's showing his commitment to University of Kentucky football, commitment to turn this program around. I'm excited. I know it wasn't the year that people expected last year. Most people that knew a little about college football knew it wasn't going to turn around like that. But we're on the right path, and we're getting good recruiting class. We've got a caller on the line. Let's see what they think about what's going on here.
We got Adam Asbury with us. Adam, are you there?
Yes, sir. Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Just want to say, first time caller, long time.
We appreciate that, man. We're trying to get a bunch of them in today.
Good.
What are your thoughts on the poll this morning? Would you rather watch the Super Bowl at MetLife Stadium, or would you rather watch it at home on the recliner watching the TV?
Yeah, most of the time I'd rather watch it at the stadium, but I think I'd rather sit at home this time than watch it.
Yeah, it might end up being chilly out there.
Yeah, a little bit. I like the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, you don't have to wear pants. I mean,
no.
You got all.
No shirt, no shoes, no pants. Just
No rules. No rules at all.
Exactly.
Who do you like in the Super Bowl?
Well, I like to see the Broncos win. I like Peyton Manning and have the utmost respect for him. It's really going to be a battle. The top defense against the top offense. It's going to be a really good game to watch.
Hey, did you catch Peyton Manning's comments towards Sherman? Sherman was talking about Peyton Manning throwing ducks, and Peyton agreed that, yeah, I throw a lot of ducks, but those ducks lead to a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns.
I agree with that, too.
I thought that was kind of a classy way of coming back.
History doesn't repeat itself. It kind of makes you have a sick feeling to think about, Peyton throwing an interception or something.
Yeah, I don't. We had a bold prediction that Peyton won't throw a single interception in this game.
I predict that Peyton will not throw no interceptions against that great Seattle secondary.
And I agree with you because the way he has played this year, it's tremendous, and it's one of the best years he's ever had. So I would definitely agree with that.
And if you look at how many interceptions the Seahawks had not last week, 2 weeks ago against the 49ers, a lot of those were Colin Kaepernick's fault. I mean, 3 of them were overthrown by a mile right at people. And the other one, that tip back, that was all Richard Sherman. I'll give him credit. But the other 3 were not because of their defense. It's because of poor passes. And poor passes are something you don't get out of Peyton. He might miss sometimes, but he's going to miss. He's going to have good misses. Like, you think about a pitcher that's going to miss high and outside. He's not going to miss high and inside where somebody can turn on it. And that's what Peyton Manning does. He's going to miss to the sideline where nobody can catch it. Or he's going to miss low where nobody can catch it.
I think I saw a statistic where, it's like 70% of his incompletions, maybe more, maybe like 80, are at the sideline, which is where you want to throw an incompletion.
Yeah, he's very, very consistent, very smart about what he does, and he improves all the time. So, I'll definitely agree with you all about the no interception in the Super Bowl.
All right, well, we appreciate you coming on this morning, Adam.
All right, thank you, guys.
We hate to rush callers off like that, but we got a bunch in line here, and we want to try to get to everybody this morning. But I believe, something that I found is before these playoffs, there was so many people that doubted Peyton Manning, and now it seems like that everybody wants to talk about how good he is.
Yeah, and that's how it goes in anything. I mean, you remember Jimmer Fredette?
Yeah.
You remember him?
Yeah.
What did we know about him before he started hitting 40, scoring 40 points a game, hitting threes from half court? Nothing. Then when they trailed off, BYU stopped winning. What have we heard about Jimmer Fredette since? That's just how the media is. That's how anybody is. You want to talk about who's doing good and what's doing good.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that he shut him up.
Yeah,
By the way, the way he's played in the first 2 rounds of the
he
playoffs.
proved he could play in the cold, and he proved he could play in the playoffs. He proved he could take a hit. He doesn't run. He's not going to prove that he can move. That's one thing that he's probably.
But he doesn't get sacked either.
No.
Even though he doesn't run, he knows how to not take a sack.
And if he does take a sack, he knows how to not get hurt taking a sack.
The only times he ever gets hit hard is when he's making a completion.
Yeah.
Rarely does he get sacked and get hit hard.
Yeah.
It's during the throwing motion when he gets hit that he generally gets hit hard.
Yeah, when he knows he's going to get sacked, he'll roll up and take it. His brain works faster than mine, I guess. He can calculate how bad it's going to be and roll up and take that hit a little easier. But yeah, he's shut a lot of people up this year, and that's a good thing for him and a good thing for the Denver Broncos that I've always been a fan of.
Something I want to get to while we're in between college real fast here. I know we got something coming on. What to watch?
Honey, get my reading glasses. It's time for what to watch.
All right. What I want you to watch this week is Super Weekend. Everything we're doing is Super Bowl themed. So both of these are going to be the Super Bowl. I normally try and go into college sports or local sports, but we're going to do Super Bowl this week. Number one thing I want you to watch is Julius Thomas, tight end, and his matchups, whether that's with Isaiah Thomas or with Campbell in the backfield on the linebackers. Everyone's talking about Richard Sherman and how good he is, and we know that he's probably going to be playing Demaryius Thomas most of the night. That's irrelevant. What is going to matter are these 4- and 6-yard routes that they run Julius Thomas across the middle. This is a big guy. Isaiah Thomas can handle him physically. There's no one on that defense aside from Isaiah Thomas that's big enough to stop him. So if he's able to get open 4 and 6 and 3 yards at a time, A, that eats up clock. B, I just don't think that there's anybody big enough to handle him in that position outside of Isaiah Thomas, who can't be on him every single game. You can't line up every single player on your team and say, you got to stick with this guy every play. Won't work because all you got to do is rub route or set up screens like we know Denver is good at doing and like Bill Belichick kind of made happen. Second thing I want you to watch is the referees. I'm sure they're going to do a great job. I'm not going to say that they're going to do anything for one team that's better than the other, but if they let this game go, they let a lot of bumping, a lot of holding outside, which is okay. I don't complain about it as long as they call it fair for both sides. That's going to be a big problem for Denver. They like to run these quick routes. They like to run screens across the middle. And if they're getting eat alive at the line of scrimmage and can't get open, Peyton Manning's going to have to hold the ball a little bit longer, and that's going to cause problems. But they throw a flag early for an interference or bumping past 5 yards. That's going to open up a lot of things that Denver can do. I know it's something that's been talked about this week, but I really want to watch it. And I think that's an interesting aspect that we don't get to see a lot, is exactly how the referees can affect the game. And in this game, other than not by doing anything wrong or making bad calls, but just the way they decide to call the game, referees could have the biggest effect this game of any Super Bowl we've seen.
Yeah, we have another caller on the line here, so let's get to him. I believe we got Cody on the line. Cody, are you there? Yeah, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you doing this morning?
Pretty good.
So, what are your thoughts on the poll question? Would you rather watch the Super Bowl at MetLife Stadium, or are you kind of like everybody else, you'd rather sit in a recliner at home and watch it?
I'm sitting here calling home and watching.
I hear you. You got big plans for the Super Bowl this weekend?
I just think I'm watching it.
I hear you. That's what I'll be doing. And you know, since I have a rooting interest in it, I know we're not supposed to, but I do. I want to see Peyton Manning win. I'd rather be by myself at home watching it as opposed to with a bunch of people where you got people talking to you and you can't concentrate.
Yeah, last year I watched the divisional playoff games with my dad when Denver and Baltimore played. My dad's a big Ravens fan. I couldn't even, for him, it was bad. And I do that a lot with UK games. Allie has to leave because I get it tore up.
So, what are your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Who do you think's going to win? What do you think's going to be a key game? What's the score going to be? Anything you want to tell us?
I think that Peyton Manning will really pull through for the Broncos and they'll come out with 6 W.
So you're on the same philosophy as us. You think he probably won't throw many interceptions against that secondary. He'll kind of shut Sherman up.
I think every time he says Omaha, he'll throw right to Sherman.
Well, I hope he don't throw it right to Sherman.
Well, not to
I hope he throws it to the receiver that Sherman's covering.
What else you know? What else you think about what we've been talking about? You got any input on NCAA paying their players or NASCAR rule changes? Well, what do you think about any of this stuff?
I really don't have anything either.
What about did you watch UK get beat up by LSU the other night? Who's 2-5 in the SEC?
I watch it, but I mean they just lack of effort. I just think that's what it was, just lack of effort. I mean Randall had a bad game, College Town had a terrible game. It was just lack of effort. That's all it was.
You're a big UK fan, right?
What?
You're a big UK fan, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I hate that for you.
Well, here's what it came down to. UK, something that hasn't really been our problem in 3 or 4 years. We couldn't get any production inside. I mean, Willie Cauley-Stein didn't do anything, and then O'Brien for them, he had 29 points, and that's because we didn't have anybody to guard him. Willie Cauley-Stein couldn't get in there. He wasn't blocking any shots, and Dakari Johnson came in, and he played well. He just doesn't have the quickness to guard a quicker O'Brien who was on him. They had a guy blocking shots, Mickey. He blocked 5 shots. The team had 11 shots. We just didn't have any inside game. Our guards played well. James Young, I think, scored 23 or 24 points. We shot it pretty well, close to 50%. We got no production inside, limited us to the outside, and we were only shooting from 3 less than 40, 33%. We can't get inside. You can't score points.
What position does Poitras play?
Pointers, he's a 3.
3. He's not big enough to play the 4.
He could go down and play the 4, yeah.
My theory is put him in instead of Willie Cauley-Stein. I mean, he's a better player.
Well, Willie Cauley-Stein plays the 5.
Randall can play the 5.
He could play the 5, but Willie Cauley-Stein, everyone else is limited athletically compared to Randall. Well, you want Randall to be able to get out. He can move on the perimeter if he needs to, which I guess could be a weapon if you put him at the 5. What do you think about this, Cody? We've just got you there listening to it.
I think the way they have it set up right now will be the way that they can do it best. I think they just need to work on their defense, especially because Randall California don't like to zone at all. But man-to-man, I mean, it's going to work because they're a big, strong, powerful team. So, I mean, if they would just put more, like the game against LSU, they didn't show any effort at all. Like the play that one of LSU's players went into the stands and tackled like one of the cheerleaders. Nobody come over there and help them up. I mean, I know California also is big on sportsmanship and, shake hands after the game, be good not only to your players, but the other team's players. So that, I mean, nobody come over to help him up. Everett was poor. There's also a play where Aaron Harrison should have balls. Ball went down, should have down the court. One of LSU's players dove on it, and Aaron Harrison just grabbed it and tried to get the jump ball. He should have been the first guy on the court to get the ball, and then it wasn't even a jump ball, and they had possession of it. So I think if they put better effort on offense, better transitions from offense to defense, and then play better man-to-man, or just switch to the zone in general.
Yeah, that's the thing. That they don't know exactly what it takes to win in the NCAA and at this level. The effort that they've given for their whole life they've just been more talented. Now, when you've got players that are maybe not as talented as you, but are playing twice as hard, you're not going to win. And we appreciate your insight. We appreciate your time. Keep listening to us. We'll talk to you again soon. We got other people in line, but we'll be glad to talk to you. And thanks for calling.
All right, thanks.
Something you said, I mean, that's something that as long as any school's having one and done players, that's something you're always going to have. And I know I got on the UK loss there, so I'll also touch, to be fair, Louisville losing to Cincinnati 69-66.
But that's always a tough game. I mean, when you go play Cincinnati, it's kind of like going and playing Indiana at home. It's always so much tougher than it should be, just because of that rivalry and then the closeness, and it's a big game for them.
And Cincinnati's not a bad team. I mean, they're 20-2, and while maybe they haven't played anybody, which one could argue, I mean, those players can only play who's scheduled, and
exactly
they played pretty well against the people who have been scheduled.
Yep.
So, to be fair, I thought I'd point that out for...
Yeah, well, while we're talking about UK, I'll go ahead and talk about what's going to happen today. Kentucky's going to go to Missouri. Missouri's pretty good. They're 16-4, 4-3 in the SEC. They beat Arkansas at home. Arkansas is so tough at home, but they're really not that good. They've won 2 SEC games, just as LSU has, but Missouri went in there and handled them, and that's a tough place to play. Their big scorers are Jordan Clarkson and Jabari Brown, and Rawson Williams lead them in rebounding. They're 25th in the nation in rebounding. Where Kentucky scores a lot of their points is second chance points. We're going to have to get some production inside. Randall can't do all the rebounding by himself. We're going to have to get Dakari Johnson in there, Pointers to come down, and Willie Cauley-Stein to figure out what's going on. He's in a little slump. I know it can be hard once you start having a slump to get things turned around, but maybe they'll get it figured out. We're going to have to get second chance points. That's how you beat Missouri today at Missouri.
We got another caller on the line. I think we got Danny with us here. This could be interesting. Danny, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I got a little trivia for you guys.
Okay. All right. What do we got?
Well, just a little history. Did you know that the quarterback for the Seahawks went to Peyton Manning's football camp when he was in high school?
I did not know that.
Didn't either.
Yes, he did.
That's kind of putting an age on Peyton Manning there.
13 years. Well, that was my trivia class. It's loaded for you. But
You delivered it really well. So, what are your thoughts on the poll question? Would you rather be watching this game at MetLife Stadium or over there on Sunset Drive?
Obviously, I want to be on the Sunset Drive, kicked up my recliner, and watching on the big screen.
Who do you got? You feel like Seattle or Denver's going to take this one?
Oh, Denver's going to take it. I'm pretty sure Denver will take it. But I will say, I heard a lot of statistics and stuff today, but when it comes to this, when you're on this level of the game, and this is a big game, and that both teams have been off resting, that even the worst player can have, this could be the game of their life. It could change things up, So I know you're looking at the history of what they've done in this past season, but when you get to this level and all this hype, anything can go wrong. So,
What do you think the score is going to be?
On the score?
Yeah.
I'm not going to put no numbers on it, but I do believe Denver will pull it off.
Well, I don't know if you were listening to us earlier, but your son, he broke it down pretty scientific here, and I think he's got him winning 29, 28,
27. 29,
Yeah,
27.
I heard that. I heard that. But,
the statistics sure to go wrong.
At this level, even the worst player can have the best day of their life. It could be on Super Bowl. They're all hyped up. And they both had time to rest, and some injuries has healed.
Yeah, you think about Percy Harvin hasn't played in 3 weeks. He should be there. He should be returning kicks. That's what you're talking about. A guy could come in that hasn't played in 3 weeks, return a kick for a touchdown. That'd be the difference.
Yeah, it could be. So, I won't stay very much longer, but I just want to throw that out there. So.
All right, I appreciate you joining us.
All right. Thanks.
So, Russell Wilson went to Peyton Manning football. Now, we know he has the academy for college players, but he went to his camp in high school.
That's right.
13 years ago.
Yeah. Which would have been, Peyton Manning would have been in his fourth year in the league.
4th year in his league, putting on a high school camp. And how old would Russell Wilson have been 4 years ago? That's a long time ago.
13 years ago.
Yeah.
But we got a mention here or a comment here on Twitter. Brian Stockton, Francis's comments were said with irony. No. Plus, I believe he's trying to appeal to a new, younger, and hipper demographic, which I obviously think they were said with a little bit of irony. I just believe bringing that kind of thing up at all is kind of turning off the only demographic you have right now, which I realize he might be trying to appeal to a new demographic, which NASCAR is going to have to do, because outside of me and you, I don't know a NASCAR fan under 40.
That's true. There's not a lot that young fans get into with NASCAR, and I think that goes back to the rule changes. Some of the excitement has been taken out of the sport, and it's a little too technical. It's almost like I was telling you, I try to watch hockey, and I really want to get into it, and I can't. And there's even more rules that I don't understand in NASCAR. I still watch it and understand enough to get what's going on, but I think there's rules that don't make sense to a lot of people that we have trouble with. Line them up and let them run. That's what I say.
Yeah, and I believe if people tried to follow it, there's a lot of personalities out there. If you, I can't say get to know, because obviously you won't get to know them, but if you got to know Junior and you got to know Brad, or even racers I might not like Joey Logano, they all have personalities that makes it interesting, which if you know their personalities during the race, really makes it more enjoyable.
Yeah, and when you hear them talking on the radios, you can kind of see what's going on, understand a little bit of their strategy, and that makes it a little more exciting for people.
And I mean, I'm sure the younger demographic would love seeing Tony Stewart go after Joey Logano last year.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you give it a chance.
Yeah, Tony Stewart is kind of an old school guy that got stuck in these new times. He's not afraid to go in the grass. He's not afraid to take you out if you reckon.
And he, what was it? He broke his hip or his leg last year racing dirt track in between NASCAR races.
Racing sprint cup cars. Sprint cars, not sprint cup cars.
Right.
That they have the wings on the back of them. They're on dirt tracks. They slide them.
Kind of look like a go-kart.
Yeah, and we want people to be safe in NASCAR, and that's sort of something that their rules that TJ didn't touch on that they're changing this year is they've put a new rev limiter on it. It's limited at 6%. It's about 50 horsepower because they make about 900 horsepower. That's useless. These guys are the best mechanics and engineers in the world. They're going to get those cars back up to 900 horsepower before it's over. But they did this because they made the new chassis last year, the Gen 6 chassis. It's a lot lighter, and they were flying. They couldn't take corners well because they were so light, which they've tried to work on this year by making the spoilers 6 inches taller, but making them clear. That gives you more down force on the back of the car, keep you on the road, and that clear, supposedly you'll be able to see through it. I think it's going to cause more wrecks than it helps.
I think last year we saw that, for a long time the strategy with tires was so big, but last year your weight distribution was huge on what you touched on, the corners, trying to make it right, whether you had grip or no grip and whether you could get off of them.
Yeah, and the only way to keep these light cars on the ground is to put that downforce, which is causing your tires, and we saw a lot of blowouts last year because when you come in those corners, you're putting so much pressure on one tire and you couldn't get the weight back to the other side of the car with these lighter cars at faster speeds, and it's rubbing that back left tire and that front left tire so much harder than it is the outside tires, and they're blowing them. So maybe this year they do have they added a half inch of ride height adjustment so you can get some better springs in there, set the car up a little higher, and hopefully get some of that worked out.
All right, we're up against another break here, so we're just going to take a 1 or 2 quick break here, 1 or 2 minutes. We got Jeremy on the line. We'll bring him on when we get back. I know he's been holding for us. Remember, refresh your browsers. If you're watching us live, just hang on. Check us out behind the scenes.